it do, what it is, lads and ladettes. It's your boy Dakota Griswold of Gamers, Nerds, and Geeks United. Welcome back to Yesterday Today. This, of course, is the show where I bring you some of the biggest gaming news you may have missed from yesterday, today, and in this case, over the weekend. And first, I hope you had a really great weekend. Played plenty of video games, got a chance to go out for a walk, catch a little air. Things are opening up out in New York City a little slowly, but there are activities to do now. And if the same goes for your city, I really hope that you are reaping the benefits safely and socially distance-wise. Now, let's move on to the appetizers, and I should say, Sony has a new first-party game that is the top-selling third game on their charts, and that is The Last of Us Part 2. You know, it's funny with all of the criticism that the game got, false criticisms of people who saw something and thought that was the whole game, and then they just listened to certain critics, or they just, you know, wanted the review bomb. It's funny because the game that's at second place is God of War, and that sold just over 10 million copies. And in front of it is Spider-Man. That sold just over 13 million. So we haven't officially seen the numbers yet for The Last of Us Part 2, but I'm gonna give it a safe bet. Say between 7 to 8 million. Maybe a little under, actually, because Horizon Zero Dawn sold a little over 10 million, and it is still behind God of War. So maybe if it's the third in place, it sold a little over what Horizon Zero Dawn sold. That's actually pretty interesting. Can't wait to see about more of the numbers as the weeks and months unfold. And well, it was actually a great game, and people finally decided to wake up and say, maybe those spoilers wasn't at all through the game, and they probably played through the whole game and actually finished it and actually enjoyed it, you know, like somebody who with an opinion would do. Moving on to the next, and well, Sony had a secretive little contest, really. The first 50 people to platinum Ghost of Tsushima got a special prize. A guy on Twitter by the name of Birdman Drew, he tweeted out, Sony recently ran an internal competition. The first 50 players to unlock the platinum trophy for Ghost of Tsushima won a replica Tsuba. It's the sword handguard, you know, between the blade and the handle. It's there to, you know, to stop all of that there. And in a beautifully engraved display box. And he finished in second place. And this is actually quite beautiful. It's a box maybe this size, but then he opens it. It has a yellow cloth in there, and it has the god. It's really beautiful, along with clouds and storm lightning bolts and stuff like that to Clan Sakai. And hey, shout out to them. I want to make a big shout out to all my people who platinum games, because I don't know if I see myself doing that anytime soon. I'm not gonna lie, but then again, Ghost of Tsushima is a pretty addictive game. Now let's move on to the last bit of the appetizers here, and take this with a grain of salt, if you will. But Private Biscuit on Twitter, he tweeted out something. He works at a local Target, but then what really got my attention is I found this on Wario64's page. Wario64 is known to have all the deals, and sometimes he has some leaks. And well, he retweeted Private Biscuit, and Private Biscuit, it showed up on a SKU. It says Xbox One S 1TB version 2. Now it got me to think that maybe they're giving us a new, cheaper version of the One S. Actually, no, it's listed as $299. So the One S was initially about that much, but it didn't have that much space. So maybe, given the fact that we're not going to have to buy the Series X right away, they want to revise the One S, make it affordable, make it attractive. And hey, I mean, if this is actually true, I guess that lets us know, like, maybe the Xbox Series S is not $300, maybe it's actually $400. And it would still make sense with it being $400, with it being powerful still, but just under the Xbox Series S, which has 12 freaking teraflops. So we'll see. Maybe this one has 10 teraflops. We'll see. Maybe 8. I don't know. But if this is true, then, well, they're really trying to, you know, just make sure they keep that family going on and keep everything going on. And yeah, that's quite interesting to me. All right, lads and ladettes, put your napkins on and let's get into the real meat and potatoes of it all. And I want to start off today with WWE 2K Battlegrounds. Yeah, that's what I said. It actually made it into the meat and potatoes section because there actually appears to be some stuff that I definitely want to discuss here. First of all, it's going to have a total roster of 70 superstars and legends. 70. A bevy of game modes. You got your singles, your tags, your fatal four-way. Then you got a campaign mode where it's shown up as a comic narrated by Paul Heyman. Yeah, Paul Heyman is in the game. And then you get to create your own character and unlock other rookies and stuff like that. I'm actually very, very interested in this game. Simply because the last time we got an arcade game like this from WWE was WWE All-Stars. And while that game was pretty good, it still didn't have a lot of, it had maybe 20, 30 superstars at tops. I'm not even sure, but it definitely didn't have 70. And honestly, they might be treating 2K Battlegrounds as actually a supplemental game because they seem to be supporting it because there's finishing moves, and I saw somebody get uppercutted and a car dropped on them from off a lift. But this roster is really interesting to me, and this is why, right? Jake the Snake Roberts is on the launch roster. Jake the Snake Roberts works for AEW, and I guess maybe because he's a legend. And people, and you know, they love him over there. They say, hey, let's let him ride, right? But then you got Carl Anderson and Luke Gallows. They work for Impact Wrestling. Now, I know that's actually more recent, but if you want to talk about recent, why isn't Rusev in the game? Rusev got let go from the WWE around the same time Carl Anderson and Luke Gallows got released. Why isn't Rusev in the game? Y'all put him through that terrible storyline of somebody else basically messing with his wife. I love wrestling, but I purposely don't watch WWE because the writing is terrible and it shows right here. Anyway, why isn't Rusev in the game? Okay, there's a great list here. We got the legends, we got Mankind, we got Stone Cold, we got The Rock, we have freaking Yokozuna, Earthquake, Typhoon, Sergeant Slaughter, Shawn Michaels. I mean, come on, man. And then we got some Cactus Jack. Mankind is in the game twice. Okay? But then we got Bo Dallas and Curtis Axel. Now, I don't watch WWE programming, but I do follow it because it's a company where a lot of wrestlers that I absolutely love is a part of, so I do care in some sense. But Curtis Axel and Bo Dallas, I don't remember the last time I heard anything about them being on TV. Maybe they appeared in a backstage segment. But anyway, we're not going to turn this into a kayfabe news, kayfabe video. Obviously, I am very passionate and love wrestling. But this roster, all right, cool. It's 70 people. I'm interested in this game. And honestly, I will wait for reviews to drop September 18th. And maybe people are going to say this game is actually fun or whatever. I hope that they care. Because the countering system in WWE All-Stars, I wasn't really a fan of. It only worked sometimes. It didn't work all the time. I know it's a timing thing, but when I used to play WWE SmackDown versus Raw, yep, took it back. And of course, the later 2K games, the countering system was A1. That I definitely can say. And my timing was just never off. I got used to it. So the timing was a little similar in WWE All-Stars, but it just felt a little off. But they have many people in here. Vader's in this game. Vader. You know what I'm saying? So it's just Lana's in the game, but Rusev isn't. I'm going to stop talking about this because I'm going to get more and more annoyed. But I will say, Jesus, Mojo Rawley is in the game, but not Rusev. Let me just move on, lads and ladettes, and we're going to move on to Fall Guys. Now, I said maybe about a week or so ago that Fall Guys is going to be a next big hit, and I'm right. It has amassed 2 million players on Steam, meaning 2 million people bought it. But since it was free on PlayStation Plus, it has 8 million players on the PlayStation platform. That's 10 million people around here playing the game. I need to be added to this. You know, I'm still in the middle of playing Ghost of Tsushima, but I definitely think I want to get into this. Because this game is one of the biggest spectacles since Rocket League. As I said it would. I wasn't sure if it was going to hit the numbers like Rocket League, but it's probably getting up there. Rocket League came out in 2015. That's 5 years of Steam that game took to pick up. And now it's free to play, but only on Epic Games, of course, first. But it'll go free to play on other platforms, to my knowledge. And Fall Guys, this game is going to go to other systems, and it's eventually going to come to Switch. And given the fact that it's colorful nature and it's fun nature, it's probably going to be a big hit on the Nintendo Switch once it makes it to the Nintendo Switch. I'm going to go ahead and say this. It's probably some exclusive deal, maybe for a year or so. But I think that Devolver Digital is going to continue to have them updating it and everything like this season. We already got KFC, Walmart, and others already wanting to be a part of the game. This game is going to continue to be a spectacle, and I can't wait to play it. I'm going to play it once I get a chance, but it's fun, it seems. It really seems fun and quite hilarious, and the whole map, it can all be determined in 7 minutes. So sign me up for that. Lads and ladies, let's move on here. John, and please forgive me for butchering this brother's name, okay? John Junizek, he tweeted, and he is a part of the development on Halo, and he basically said, FYI, there will not be a community update this week, as they usually do it on the blog. We know there are lots of questions out here, especially in regards to Halo Infinite, but please hold tight for now. There's a lot to work through, including communication plans, but please know we'll share more when ready. Listen, they already delayed the game, and this is something we just got to deal with. Let's not kick them while they're down, okay? Give them the space and time. We already let them know, hey, we are not feeling what it looks like. There's some promise there. We like the grappling hook. It definitely looks and feels like Halo Combat Evolved, but it needs a little bit more of that next gen polish. So let's not kick them while they're down. Let's let them do what they need to do so they don't need to crunch, so there's no extra pressure. It's already pressure. It's a freaking Halo game, all right? That's enough. They delayed it into next year. Hopefully it still comes out next year, and hopefully it's phenomenal. We don't want it to be great. We want it to be phenomenal because it is Halo, the flagship to Xbox, the mascot to Xbox is Master Chief. We need this to be great, so let's be patient and let them make this game great. Now, let's move on. We got some new photos and, of course, details. And it's crazy to see this picture about Spider-Man Miles Morales. There's a picture of him inside a building, and he's jumping and he's attacking, and then you can see his shadow on the wall, but then a lot of people didn't catch it. If you look at the reflection on the window, you see his whole reflection. This ray tracing is out of pocket. What? I'm very, very excited. I'm always excited for a Spider-Man game, but Black Spider-Man. I mean, come on, seriously. So Brian Horton, the creative director of the game, he said some things on a blog post, and this is quite interesting, right? He said, we knew really early that Spider-Man was going to end with him getting the spider bite, talking about Spider-Man 2018. Wow, that's 2 years ago, wow. We would tease it during development. I think everybody was focused on, can you make the first one really good? And we'll worry about the other stuff later. But we wanted to have that set up, so if it became a reality to do another game, we could pull it off. Well, you did it, and here it comes. I think you did really, really good. And they said they teased it during development. I didn't really pick up on any of that, but I'm really, really excited to see that this Miles Morales is getting another game. Miles was kind of like the highlight of the movie that came out last year as well, and the movie 2 years ago, I should say. The movie was absolutely awesome. It's severely underrated. It didn't do well, super well, critically or by the box office, I want to say. But everybody that saw it loved it, including myself. So it's just great to hear him have a story, and I figured that they would probably lead to him getting his own game, given the fact that you are completely seeing the whole events of his father passing away and him becoming Spider-Man, and then, you know, being on the ceiling and everything like that, classic stuff. And yeah, I'm really, really stoked about it. And he said, when we started crafting it, we realized that with a little bit more of a compact storytelling line, we could tell a very emotional, impactful story that would fit really well as an experience that would take Spider-Man 1 and Miles Morales, Spider-Man 1.5, 2, whatever you want to call it, and do justice to his character. Well, it's not going to be like the biggest grand scope. It's going to be like a full storyline. And honestly, they pulled us in pretty good with the emotion in the first one. I'm not going to give any spoilers because that is a really great game. And if you haven't played that game yet and you own a PS4, why haven't you? Go ahead and get it right now. But wait, there is still a rumor out there that Spider-Man 4 Remastered might come out alongside Spider-Man Miles Morales, but still, it's like $20. You can get it for $20 on a PS4. It's not a waste of time, and it has plenty of DLC and everything. So I'm really, really excited. Listen, I'm very convinced that they can tell a compelling and a very, very great story with Miles. And as they did with Peter, I mean, just that ending and all of that stuff, it was really, really good game. Now, let's just move on to the next story. And speaking of PS5, there was a lot of hubbub and gobbledygook and nonsense going on around over the weekend about how the PS5 isn't going to be true 4K. And there was a guy on Twitter by the name of Dust Golem who just said, yeah, you know, I heard from my sources. Now this guy actually, he usually comes out with some good information and people trust his word. But it's in question now because people have actually called him out. Quantum Error developer Team Killer Media, this is the game coming out, and they basically said Quantum Error is currently running at 4K 65 to 70 frames per second unoptimized. We will be hitting our goal of 4K 60 frames per second, and there will be much more than just considers. And they're basically calling him out like, yo, what's this dude talking about? He says, well, I can't fully confirm. I just heard it from my sources and stuff like that. Lads and ladettes, there's taking the things with a grain of salt, and then there's just like, bro, what? You understand what I'm saying? There's no official proof. He's not giving us anything. He's just saying it because we trust him as a source. Nah, this ain't it, Chief. We will know sometime soon. I mean, a developer who's actually developing a game for the PS5 straight up came clean and said, yo, this ain't true. So now you're being called out like, nah, this is what I was told. So who are you gonna take? The people working with the machine or somebody who's actually working with word of mouth? I don't know. Let me know that in the comments below. But go ahead and like this if you didn't already. If not, hit the dislike, it's all good. Go ahead and share this with everybody you know that loves video games. Your sister, your aunt, your cousin's dog, and your sister's cat. And go ahead and subscribe if you're new here and scroll up to all so you know when your boy is posted. I appreciate you so much for watching, and this video is finito.